Talk about Scent of a Woman. It's a film I've watched 20 times from the 90s with Al Pacino and Chris O'Donnell. Chris O'Donnell was Robin in Batman. He lost interest in acting in Hollywood, so some of you might not remember him. It tells the story of a college student. He comes from a humble family, he goes to the equivalent of Harvard or whatever. And over the holidays, he takes a job basically babysitting Al Pacino, who's a blind former lieutenant colonel in the army. Um, he's basically an alcoholic. He's rowdy, he's boisterous, he's a military man to his toenails. And Al Pacino swindles him into going to New York for the weekend. Al Pacino wants to have a tour of pleasures, to quote him, so he can enjoy life one last time before something dreadful happens. Chris O'Donnell is in peril in college. He's got mixed in with the bad boys, the upper class establishment kids. And it's one of those teacher mentor stories that were popular in the 90s, like Good Will Hunting or Finding Forrester. You feel the film as a father-son story, on either side. You can open up or you can learn to listen. And the performances are great. There's lots of fun stuff. I've watched it loads of times and read a lot about it. And people either love it because of Al Pacino and his hoo-ha, or people distance themselves from it because he's too boisterous and vulgar and they can't get behind it. What's probably called toxic masculinity. I always found that really difficult because he's blind. He's clearly in a lot of pain. But there's something I noticed only recently, in that there's a scene where his niece tells Charlie to watch him on the phone. He loves to call 900 numbers to talk dirty. So basically he's calling him for phone sex. And then he organises to go see a hooker. And what I realised, which, offers so much sympathy for the character, is because, Al Pacino at the start of it, he can't get it up. Like, he's completely ashamed of himself with how the condition of his life has fallen from what he once was, being in the orb of the president, so to speak, to living out in a shed in middle America. And it's only the comfort and emotional support of Charlie that even gives him the comfort to go and do it. Imagine how miserable you have to be not to even get an erection as a man. And I think when you watch it in that light and you notice that, he becomes a little kitten, which is mentioned at the start. The niece mentions that, and he, it just goes over her head. Al Pacino is just such a titan in the film. And it all culminates in one of the most spectacular finishes in cinema. The big speech is kind of gone from cinema now. I'm sorry it is, especially in a world of Instagram reels. Like, the 3-minute speech should be a staple of films. And we're all watching YouTube videos, so I'm giving a bloody speech now. It's well worth digging out. As always, you can rent it on YouTube for €4. It's great. There's lots of really enjoyable scenes. It feels so vivid. It's shot on film. It takes its time. You're kind of transported into New York. I think that's probably the film that made me fall in love with America as a kid. New York with Al Pacino. What else would you want? Check it out. It's deadly. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you want me to talk about any film. I'll get around to it.